Let's jump right into today's content because I know so many of you guys, after seeing my unboxing of this device on Instagram several months ago, you guys have been messaging me, Sherry, any update, any update, any update. Today I have the update and you guys can see that I have been testing this for quite a few months and I want to go through everything with you. So just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me quickly show you what I got. So first of all, in the box, I got this absolutely gorgeous storage bag, which as you can see I have been using. It is so convenient both for storing it at home as well as for travel. And now this would be the actual device. This is the DermRays Silk Pro V6S at home laser hair removal device. So you get the actual laser tool as well as everything you need to plug it in. So you have the adapter, you have the power cord. It also comes with a detailed manual and guide as well as a razor that you will actually have to use before using the device. Now, why is this exciting? Because this is the first and only at-home laser hair removal device that is safe specifically for deeper skin tones. If you actually do a search on Google, on Amazon, etc., and you look for at-home laser devices, you will find that there are several options out there, but they are generally designed for people with skin tones Fitzpatrick 1 to 3, and not for those of us with a little bit more melanin in our skin. So those devices would not work on someone like me. And I've actually been contacted by several companies in the past wanting to send me devices. And I'm like, but you do know that that's not going to work on my skin tone, right? So why am I even going to bother to try? There are also a lot of IPL at-home devices, which actually can work on deeper skin tones. And you'd find that a lot of the at-home devices that people with deeper skin tones tend to go for would be IPL devices, but there are some drawbacks and we're going to discuss that. So let's start with what's the difference between laser hair removal and IPL hair removal. IPL, which stands for intense pulse light. Now, the laser devices uses a specific wavelength of infrared light. That light would then target the hair follicle to inhibit hair growth without damaging the surrounding skin. That specific wavelength is what is very important and critical for the success of this process. Why? Because different wavelengths will actually work on different skin tones. There are two specific wavelengths that you might see come up when you're discussing laser hair removal in both professional and at-home devices. 810 nm and 1064 nm. Now the 810 nm is what you would tend to find more readily, and that's the one that actually works on lighter skin tones. So if you're somebody like me or deeper, that will actually not work on you. However, a wavelength of 1064 nm is what is ideal for darker skin. Now the difference between laser and IPL, intense pulse light, is whereas laser uses a specific wavelength of infrared light, IPL uses a broad spectrum of light, usually between 400 to 1400 nanometers. So it basically sends out this beam of light on the hair follicles, heats them up, and then stunts the regrowth. As you can see, IPL is way less precise than laser. The other big difference is that there are some drawbacks when it comes to IPL. So if you've tried IPL before, or you may have heard other people talk about it, they may talk about experiencing a little bit of pain, sometimes redness, stinging, heat when they're doing IPL. And the other thing with IPL, whether you're doing it in a clinical setting or at home, you have to use protective eyewear, not just sunglasses, because you can expose yourself to eye injury. So then the next question you may ask, and a lot of people have DM'd me this question, what's the difference between using this laser at-home device versus doing laser hair removal in professional or clinical settings, as some of you may already be doing or some of you have been investigating? So there are two main reasons that I want to point out. Number one, the energy output. The devices that are used in professional and clinical settings definitely have a way higher energy output. It is a more complex setup, and that higher energy output will give you faster results than an at-home device, but it also only needs to be handled by a professional in order to be used safely. At-home devices were actually designed and approved to be used at home, and they are done with certain limitations so that they can be safely used at home. The second big difference is cost. Just based on some of the conversations that I've had with followers regarding the laser treatments that they are doing compared to the cost of the at-home device, you would literally be able to cover the cost of this device by the time you complete your in-clinic sessions. That right there immediately is going to save you thousands of dollars although it may seem as though doing it at home is taking a little bit longer to get the same results. So what should you expect when you use something like the V6S from DermRays? Now, it's important for us to understand that there are different stages in hair growth. The anagen, the catagen, the telogen, etc. Now, all these stages are affected by several factors on a very personal level. Genetics, age, stress, hormones, medications, lifestyle, sleep, etc., etc. So it's not going to be the same for any two people. Laser treatment is most effective during the anagen stage, which is when the hair is actively growing and attached to the follicle. And this is why when you're actually going to use the device, you want to make sure that you're cleanly shaven, you've removed everything, and you move into your laser session one time. Now, what's the catch? The catch is not all the hair in any one part of your body is going to be at that same stage at the same time. And this is why you may see faster results in some parts of your body or some parts of the same body part compared to others. So just like skincare requires consistency, you definitely need to be consistent with your at-home laser treatments to really get optimal results. And when I tell you about my experience next, you're going to understand that was exactly what was happening to me. And at first I was a little bit confused as to why this, why that. But from the time I actually dug a little bit deeper to understand the mechanism of how this works, it made sense. And I can show you and explain to you what my experience has been. So let's talk about the device and how to use it. Now, first of all, I really, really like this very sleek design. And like I mentioned, this uses an advanced diode laser to precisely target the hair root while safeguarding the surrounding skin. Tests have shown that this can actually reduce hair by up to 82% in 8 weeks. And again, that's not going to be for everybody, but I think that's probably going to be like a best case scenario. For those of you who have issues with ingrown hairs, this is definitely going to help you. And the actual laser comes out of this area and it comes out in flashes, and the device has 30 million flashes. So this is going to last you a very long time. Unlike using an IPL at-home device, no eye protection is required when using this device. I also like the fact that there are actually 3 settings. And when you're actually starting your at-home treatment, you can start with the lowest setting and then gradually increase to whichever strength you want. Like on my legs, I can use this on level 3. On my underarms, I'm actually still using level 2. And you can use it both in a sliding motion or in a stamping motion. So whichever floats your boat, I usually do the stamping motion. And finally, one of the other features that I really, really love about the device is that this has a skin contact sensor. So even when it's on and it's engaged, it's not going to emit that laser unless it actually feels that it's in contact with your skin. So where can you use this on your body? This device can actually be used on the entire body. So you can use it on your legs, your arms, your underarms, your face, your bikini area. And if you're actually doing your entire body, they say that this treatment can actually take 15 minutes. I have personally only been using it on my legs and my underarms. And if I do both sessions together, it takes me a maximum of 5 minutes or less. So how do you use the device? You want to make sure that you're doing it on a clean, dry, and freshly shaved surface. You're not putting on any lotions, any oils, anything like that. You then turn on the device and then you cycle between the 3 levels of treatment, level 1, level 2, level 3. Select the level that you want and then press the button to engage the device. Next, you will notice that when you actually put it against your skin, that's when it's actually going to start emitting the laser. So you just go along the whole area slowly as it releases until you actually complete the section. So let's talk about my results and my experience. So I did let you guys know that I got the device sometime in June, and it took me quite a while to do this review because I had some setbacks and delays for the last few months, and let me explain. So number 1, I traveled a couple of times and I actually forgot to pack the device with me. So for a couple of weeks, I wasn't able to actually do my laser treatments. And in one case, when I actually returned, I got a rash breakout on my legs. That has nothing to do with the device, but I did contact the company to say, listen, I just got back. I need to continue with my laser treatments. This has happened. Can I continue? And they rightly advised me that I should wait until the rash healed to be able to continue with the laser sessions. So I think I would have missed about like a month of laser sessions because of that happening. And then of course, for the last 3 weeks, I didn't do it or shaved because I wanted to show you guys the results. So we had quite a few weeks where I actually wasn't doing any laser. So I actually use this both on my underarms and my legs. I started with my legs first and following the guidelines that they have in their manual, which says at the beginning that you could use it about 3 times for the week. And then after a couple of weeks, you could start reducing the frequency until you get to the place where you're actually just using the device once a month for maintenance. So I actually followed that, but I found like I did see some results, but I didn't see anything that was significant enough for me to be like, oh yeah, this is life-changing, right? However, I must say early on that I was seeing much faster results in my underarm area than my legs. So after about, let's say about 2 months of consistent use, that would have been, let's say maybe about 8 to 10 weeks. When I put it all together in terms of following those guidelines, I actually reached out to the brand again and I said, listen, this is what is happening. Can you give me some advice? Is it that I can increase my frequency of use of the device? What can I do? Because of course, like I mentioned, there are many things that affect all of our hair growth, the thickness of our hair, the size of our hair follicles, all these things. And they actually told me that yes, once I can actually tolerate it, that I can actually increase my frequency to use the laser device every day, probably for a couple of weeks, and then start to do the reduction in frequency and see what types of results that I would get. And that was the game changer for me. That may not be the case for everyone because I have seen some people use the device and using that 3 times per week and exactly how they say they got excellent results in 8 to 12 weeks. But for me, I actually had to increase frequency and use it every day for about 2 weeks. And then I gradually started to reduce the frequency. When I do it on my legs, I don't feel any warmth or anything like that. And by the way, the use of this device is completely pain-free, sting-free, like nothing. I only actually feel a slight warming sensation when I use the device on my underarms. And I'm guessing that's because the skin on my underarms probably is a little bit more sensitive compared to my legs. The other thing I would say is that I also notice my underarms, and I don't even know if this is like one of the side effects of this thing, but my underarm itself, like the skin on my underarm itself, actually lightened up a little bit. While this device can be used on the face, I would just say that if you are somebody with melasma or prone to melasma, you might want to monitor that a little bit. Given that heat is one of the things that can trigger excess pigment in the skin, you might want to exercise a little bit of caution there. So these are the pictures that I wanted to show you to compare. Generally, I have been a shave my legs girl. This first picture is what my leg looks like if I don't shave for 3 weeks. I would shave my legs about once per week. I love to wear dresses and skirts and things like that. So, if for some reason I skip that once a week and the hair is actually growing, then I'll probably just deviate to wearing pants or longer dresses, right? But I purposefully didn't shave for 3 weeks so that you can actually see that this is what my legs would actually look like. The next pic is what my leg is looking like now if I don't shave for 3 weeks. So just before I did this video, I did no laser treatment or shaving for the last 3 weeks just to be able to get this shot. Although I wanted to do it so badly, I wanted to be able to get this photo so you could actually see the drastic difference in terms of my hair growth at this point in time. I am so excited by these results because what I have noticed is that yes, there is a difference of growth in certain parts because like we talked about, the hair growth stage is going to be different in different parts of your skin. There are some areas where no regrowth is happening already. There are some areas where the regrowth is happening. It is happening way more slowly. And the other thing that I've noticed is that the hair doesn't look as thick or as dense as it used to. Given all the delays and time constraints that I have, I would say that I have gotten like a solid 3 months of treatments here. And these are my results after 3 months. I'm so excited to see what my results would be like by January. And of course, after this video, I'm going right back to starting my laser treatments again. I really want to thank DermRays for finding my channel and asking me to test this item, as well as for their patience with all my questions and delays in testing this device to give you guys my experience over the last couple months. And as I said at the beginning of this video, this device is not cheap. However, it is definitely way cheaper if you check up how much you're going to pay to do in-clinic laser hair removal treatments. When you have the device at home, you could do it at your pace, at your convenience, whenever you have the time. You don't have to worry about making an appointment. The other critical thing to remember is that if you are Fitzpatrick 4 to 6, you really want to make sure and get the V6S. DermRays has a couple of devices. The other devices that they do have are targeted to lighter skin tones. And this is the perfect time to pick up a big ticket item and gift yourself something that's really going to be an investment that you're going to have for a very long time, that you could always use for touch-ups, maintenance at home, and know that you're doing it safely and pain-free.